Hey everyone! So, I've been working hard on this new series and I'm curious, should I make another part? I'd love to hear what you think. Let me know in the comments if you're excited to see more parts of this series. And for now, let's start it. This is the story of a boy who read a serialized web novel that no one else seemed to notice. The novel had no views, and the boy always wondered, why doesn't anyone read this? It's a masterpiece. It had 3,149 episodes, but the average view count, just 1.9. He thought, who else would read a web novel with over 3,000 episodes? Only he did, and even then, it took him 10 years to reach the last episode. Back then, he had no idea that the story he alone had been reading for all those years would suddenly turn into reality. While traveling on a train, he is shocked as monsters suddenly appear. There is a lot of destruction everywhere, and when he read the last episode, he had no idea he would become the only person who knew how the world would end. He remembers reading lines in the book. There are 3 ways to survive the apocalypse, and everything is fading, becoming unclear now. But one thing is certain. If he reads this book, he will stay. He receives a notification that this is the last episode, and he wonders if this is really the end. His name is Dokja, which means he is the only child reader. This is how he introduces himself to others. People misunderstand him 9 times out of 10 when he tells them that he is Dokja. They think he is an only child. He clarifies that his name is Dokja. His father gave him that name because he wanted him to grow up strong and independent. However, he thinks his name is a curse because he has been lonely and single his entire life. His name is Dokja, and he graduated from a third-rate college, currently employed as a contractor at a subsidiary of a large corporation. His hobby is reading serialized web novels on the subway on his way home from work. But today's subway ride is unlike any other. He is reading the novel with full concentration when a girl named Sangha from the HR department comes to him and says he might get sucked into his phone with this concentration. He is surprised to see her, and she asks if he is heading home. She sits with him, mentioning her team manager is away on a business trip. He is surprised to see her, thinking he can't believe he ran into Sangha, the most popular girl at work. He asks her if she usually takes the subway home, thinking from the HR assistant manager to the finance team manager. There's a line of men waiting to drive her home. She gets sad, telling him someone stole her bicycle. He asks if she commutes to work on a bike, and she replies that she has been working a lot of overtime lately, so she thought she could use the exercise, and she has personal reasons too. Dokja thinks that seeing her up close, he gets why all the guys are head over heels for her, but none of that concerns him, and they both live completely different lives. However, Sangha wasn't why today's subway ride was different. She asked him to lend her some extra money in Spanish. Dokja laughs and says she is studying hard. Sangha asks what he is reading, and she is surprised to see it's a novel, saying, "You're just reading a Korean novel?" She is impressed and says she loves books too, mentioning her favorite authors are Murakami, Hari, and Raymond Carver. She asks him who his favorite author is. He thinks her hobby is reading serialized web novels on the subway on his way home. Although he is proud of his hobby, today is unlike any other because of 3 Ways to Survive the Apocalypse, which he has been reading for the past 10 years, and today it is ending. People might wonder why he is making such a fuss over the ending of a web novel, but this story is very special to him. He has been reading this series since he was in 8th grade, when he was bullied at school, when he failed his entrance exams, ending up at a third-rate college, and when bad luck stationed him on the front lines during military service. Even now, as an unstable contract worker, moving from company to company, he has always read this book. It's bittersweet, this fictitious world he has followed for so many years now ending. Today is the day. The story's epilogue will be uploaded. It's a grand serial consisting of 349 episodes, a 10-year-long epic journey that began in his late teens and ends in adulthood. He can't believe the series went on for so long with just an average view count of 1. The first chapter had around 1,200 views, but by chapter 10, there were only about 20 views, and by chapter 50, the count dropped to 12. Ultimately, it was a story written for him, and only him, because he was the only reader left. He wanted to donate to the author, but it was hard enough for him to make ends meet, so he just thanked the author by writing a comment. He also tried recommending the series to others, but they criticized him. Sangha calls him again, asking about the story he is reading, but he changes the topic, saying it's already been a year since they started at the company. Around this time last year, they start talking, and Dokja says it seems like only yesterday, mentioning their contracts are ending soon. He is embarrassed because Sangha was recently promoted to a full-time employee due to her diligence. He apologizes for the late congratulations, thinking he doesn't want to admit it, but Sangha is so cool. If they were characters in a novel, she would be the heroine. He never tried, but Sangha gave it her all. He read web novels while Sangha studied, so it's no wonder she became a full-time employee while he didn't. Suddenly, she offers to tell him the name of the app she uses to learn foreign languages. Dokja thinks if he were in a different genre, if the genre of his life wasn't non-fiction but fantasy, he might be the protagonist. But he shrugs, thinking it doesn't matter if she told him or not. The fact is, the genre of his life is non-fiction. And in this genre, he is no protagonist, but merely a reader. He tells Sangha he wants to live his own life, and she seems impressed by his words. She exclaims she also wants to live her own life, and, like him, will strive to live her life to the fullest. Dokja thinks, at least this makes her stop talking. Suddenly, he receives a thank you message from the series author. The author texts him again, asking if he is the reader of TWSA, telling him he could finish his story because of him and even won a prize in a contest. Dokja is shocked TWSA was in a contest, and the writer tells him it will become paid content soon. The writer offers to send a special present, asking for his email as a token of gratitude. Dokja is surprised and tells him he could publish his story just because of him. Dokja hopes it would be great if it's a $50 gift card. After a while, he receives an email that TWSA would become paid content starting at 7 p.m. It's 6:55 now, which means he has 5 minutes left. In the meantime, they remove serials without prior notice when they become paid content, and he wonders what will happen after 5 minutes. Soon, everything becomes dark, and there is a large noise of fires outside. People think it may be a terrorist attack, becoming scared when they hear the voice of an evil monster. Sangha asks Dokja what he thinks is happening outside, while he is watching his phone because it is 7 p.m. It was sheer coincidence that he checked the time at that exact moment. They hear an announcement from the staff, asking them to evacuate immediately. Sangha asks him, what is going on? But there is suddenly a loud sound of thunder and a notification. The free service of the 8,612 planetary system has ended. The main scenario will begin now. And it was at that moment that the genre of his life changed. A creature called Dokabi appeared in the sky, and someone exclaimed as the creature sprung into view. Dokja didn't know why that sentence popped into his head then, but suddenly the subway stopped, and the entire cabin grew dark. The opening lines of a very familiar story kept crossing his mind, but he thinks, this doesn't make any sense. In the meantime, Sangha whispers the word, Dokabi, and Dokja believes there is no way this could be true, that this is completely impossible. He remembers the lines he read in the first chapter, that a downy creature wearing a straw garment was floating in midair. But soon he is shocked to see that a small creature named Dokabi appears there. Everyone is watching the creature in shock, and Dokja thinks fiction and reality are overlapping. At that moment, the Dokabi says something, but speaks in a different language, and everyone wonders what he is talking about. No one knows what is happening, except him. He knows that this thing is definitely a doi. The doi appeared in the opening paragraph of TWSA, and this creature heralded the tragedy that carried on for thousands of chapters throughout the story. He wonders how the very same Dokabi could be right in front of him. Sangha thinks it's speaking Spanish and asks if she should try talking to it. He makes fun of her, saying, you don't even know what that thing is. Are you going to ask it for a loan? In the meantime, the Dokabi speaks in English. Can you hear me now? And suddenly there is a language patch. A boy asks him, what are you doing? Are you filming a movie? And the Dokabi says, I should have done more research. Someone told me I'd have the most customers if I put up the paywall at around 7 in the evening. He then asks everyone to stop talking and listen to him, saying he has something very important to tell them all. People start arguing, asking, how are you going to compensate us? And you can't do this without our consent. A little boy calls for his mother and asks if this is a cartoon, while Dokja knows exactly how this story goes. He tells Sangha not to move while the Dokabi exclaims, you are all very noisy. He stares at the people angrily and yells for them to be quiet. At this, one of the boys' heads explodes and he dies in front of everyone. The Dokabi starts killing them one by one and says, this is not a movie and it is not a dream. This is reality and you are all a part of it. Dokja hates to admit it, but it's real. His doubt and disbelief slowly fade. The floor quickly becomes painted in blood. And the Dokabi says, all of you had quite a relaxing life until now. You could breathe, eat, excrete, and reproduce without paying the costs. You've all been living privileged lives, but it's over now because nothing is free. People are very scared, asking if he wants money from them. Mr. Han from the finance team faces him, saying, if it's money you're after, I'll give you as much as you want. How much do you need? Dokja asks, are you offering him your money? Mr. Han says he can give as much money as the Dokabi wants if he lets him go. The Dokabi smirks, saying, money is good. It's an object that signifies an intersubjective agreement between humans. But then he moves his hand and tears Mr. Han's card into pieces, exclaiming that money is only valid within the confines of their space-time, and that paper has no value in the macroscopic dimension. He warns, if you pull a stunt like this again, I'll blow your head up. He says there's no time for chit-chat. Their debt is piling up as they speak, and tells them to start earning money themselves. He moves above their heads saying, "Channel 7623 has opened, and the constellations are now making an entrance." A small status window appears in front of everyone, and Dokja is shocked to see that there is one in front of him too. There's a line written on it. "The main scenario has arrived. Prove your value by killing one or more living organisms. Time limit, 30 minutes. The Dokabi wishes them all good luck, laughing, saying he expects to see an interesting story. He disappears, leaving people in a state of fear and shock. After that, Sanga tries to call the police, but they aren't picking up. Dokja asks her to stay calm. He asks if she's played the game the development team is working on, the one where only a handful of people survive the apocalypse. She surprisingly asks, "What does that have to do with anything?" He tells her, "We're part of that game now. Every game has rules. We just need to follow them. We just have to figure out what those rules are." He then observes the current situation: a doi with antennae and a litter of dead bodies in the subway cabin. Office workers, trembling, covered in blood, and an old lady praying fervently in her seat. He still can't believe this is really happening, but he can't deny it any longer. He has no choice but to admit it now. He doesn't know why, but it's clear TWSA, which he has been reading for over 10 years, is coming to life right before his eyes. He sighs and thinks about what he should do to survive. He remembers the status window in front of him, where he has to kill one or more living organisms to prove his value. In the meantime, a boy calls everyone and asks them to calm down and stop what they are doing. He says this is a national emergency, and even a small commotion can lead to heavy casualties. "So from now on, I will take charge of this situation." The people refuse to listen to him and ask, "Who are you and why should we listen to you?" He introduces himself as an army lieutenant in Unit 65 and 02. Dokja is surprised to see there is a man from the military. The lieutenant has just received a message from his unit, calling him to return as soon as possible. A man asks, "What is happening?" The lieutenant replies he is trying to contact the army base. But as a soldier, he doesn't have clearance to contact the Blue House directly. Dokja already knew this would become a national emergency, so he wasn't surprised, but something else surprised him. He thinks he knows the lieutenant named Hong Lee. While he has never seen him in person, he knows him by name. His real introduction is as the Steel Blade, Hong Sung Lee, Republic of Korea Army Lieutenant, and he was one of the supporting characters in TWSA. It's hard for him to believe that a character from TWSA has actually appeared. He wonders if this is how Hong Sang was introduced in the original story, but he's certain that this is not how Lee first appeared. He originally appeared after the first scenario and wondered what was happening there. He thinks, "If I could read it again, I would know exactly what's happening." Suddenly, a boy shouts and informs them that the Prime Minister is making a speech, which means this really is a Level 1 national emergency. The boy announces that there have been reports of unidentified terrorist attacks in Seoul, as well as many other areas of the country. The government will combat these attacks using all means necessary, and Dokja remembers that this was also in the story. It would be easier to believe that they are under a terrorist attack. People wonder why the Prime Minister is making the speech and what happened to the president. It's revealed that the president has died due to the terrorist attack. Others think it is just a rumor, but Dokja knows it is not a rumor, because soon the Prime Minister will also die. Suddenly, there is another attack, and the Prime Minister dies in front of everyone during his live broadcast. The Dokabi appears and exclaims that he has already told everyone this is not a joke. He says people haven't taken him seriously and are not playing a game right now. According to his research, people from this country are good at games, so he now wants to raise the difficulty by reducing the time remaining for Task 1. They now have 10 minutes left and have to kill more living organisms. Their remaining time is 10 minutes, and as an added penalty, if the first death doesn't occur within the next 5 minutes, then every living organism in this cabin will be terminated. People get scared and ask Lieutenant Lee what to do now, while he asks everyone to calm down. Sanga also seems scared, while Dokja thinks everything is going exactly as he remembers. The events are unfolding exactly the same as the beginning of TWSA, but he can't help feeling something isn't right. Hong Lee, one of the major supporting characters, has already appeared, but one more person should have appeared. If he remembers correctly, that person should be appearing any minute now. Suddenly, they hear a voice that someone has been murdered in the cabin behind them. They try to open the door, but it cracks with so much light, and they find that there is an invisible wall in front of the door. They hear the Dokabi's voice saying no one may enter or leave the cabin until the scenario is complete. He claims it's getting interesting for some cabins, while others haven't even started yet, and says he will give them a little jolt to get the ball rolling. He will show them what will happen if they don't act within the next 5 minutes. He shows them a video of Tong Girls' high school students who suddenly all die because their time limit has been exceeded. All the students fail as their heads explode, while others cry for help and try to run away, but no one can escape. The people in the cabin are shocked to see their fate. Suddenly, a student grabs another by the neck and kills her in front of them. A notification appears. The survivor of channel 23,515 is Ji Hai, a second-year student from Class B at Tonggirls High School. The Dokkabi laughs at them, enjoying the game. Thanks for watching. Everyone, I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated. And hey, drop a comment if you have thoughts or new ideas or just want to say hi. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, take care and stay awesome.